to move into our last speaker, who has a very different and unique speech that's inspirational. And we have him last intentionally, because he's going to leave you with being thankful and grateful and inspired. He is going to make you really question things and think about your life in general. Ty Shane Howell has a story that is phenomenal, and I'm going to let him tell it. But I want you to keep an open mind, because this story will take you from the lows to the highs to now. He's an international speaker. He's a cold email lead generation genius strategist. And let me explain something to you so you understand a little better. In our industry, cold email and lead generation is very difficult, and most people don't know how to do it properly. He knows how. He's cracked the code. There's only a few people that are in the community doing what he does and doing it well. And it has to do with leads, psychology, how to get them, all using cold email. And when I say cold email, it means getting people's data and sending them emails based on the information we've been able to gather, a lot of psychological points, so they know what to say, even in the first email that ends up in the inbox. What that does is it gets more sales. It's not an easy task, and many people in our industry claim to be able to do it, and they really truly don't know what they're doing. Ty Shane Howell is different. He knows what they're doing. His team is phenomenal. They have cracked the code on cold email lead gen. And I very much so encourage you to do research on cold email lead gen after this event today. Because it's different than paying to run ads. It's different than doing cold outreach on the internet, in the DMs, LinkedIn, etc. This is a faucet of water that you can turn on and make millions of dollars once you hit the sweet spot. Okay? Awesome. So, with that being said, please put your hands together for Ty Shane Howell.
It's 1%. That's close enough. Good enough. Okay. You're hot. All right, thank you guys. So today you have heard how to get clients. You've been given the softwares to do it. And literally all that's left is to take action. And what that really is betting on yourself. And so literally all I can say is, like, raise your hand if you have a dream of a better life. If you have a dream better for life for your kids, for your future posterity, just for yourself. Well, literally, if you don't take action and you don't bet on yourself, there goes your dreams, you know? And so that's really what my talk today is about. Where's the clicker? And so you just have to start. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what circumstances you're living in. It doesn't matter how you feel. You just have to take those next steps. And so between Andy, Fel, everybody, Caitlin, you've been given the tools and you've been given the strategies. What Andy shared about the webinars, absolutely gold. And so, like, there's literally no reason in the next 30 days you couldn't take this software and start selling it. There's literally zero excuse other than being unwilling to bet on yourself for whatever excuse you might have. Oh, it's not connected to me. Whew. This is my first time doing this, by the way. So I'm gonna go over two different things. I'm gonna split this. I'm gonna go as fast as I can without overwhelming you too much. First is what happens when you bet on yourself, and some of the secrets that I have learned through my experience. And then second is gonna be the 4 mechanisms of cold email using AI. And then at the end, I'm going to share you a strategy that literally anybody here right now can deploy as fast as they want to be able to get people that you would love to work with and who are qualified for whatever services you're selling booked on your calendar. Next slide. Yeah. All right. Whew, I'm shaking. So first right here, why email? Why cold email? It's a problem worth cracking, and it's a channel worth using. So since 2010, the cost of ads is just increasing like crazy. It's almost 500% increase in the last 15 years, and it's just going to keep going up. The chart's very obvious. And then we're at what, 60% fewer leads per dollar spent. So one B2B ad is like 50 to 200 bucks. So I'm just saying, and you don't even know if they're qualified, you don't know if they're going to show up, you're still paying for the click. So it's very unpredictable, and you got to have a huge runway. And so why cold email? This chart right here. Oh, whoops, wrong way. Oh, there we go. And so why should you be betting on yourself right now? So investors are, look at the market. So that blue line, oh no, we lost. I'm shaking, guys. You can do anything.
You're good. You're doing great.
Okay, there we go. So that blue line right there, that's investors. That's the market. And that green line is job opportunities. So literally, while more money is being spent in the markets on businesses being invested, job opportunities are going down. And that's a 3-4 year pattern. And I'm just saying, how would we take this pattern and project the next 5 to 10 years? It's going to keep going in the same directions. And so now more than ever, you have to take control of your life, and you have to take advantage of these opportunities, because people are betting against you right now. And so now is literally the time to get started. So if you're asking yourself, should I get high level? Should I sell marketing? Whatever it is, whatever your business is, now is the time, because AI is taking more and more jobs as time goes by. Oh no. Oh, there we go. So just recently this week, Jeff Bezos raised $6.2 billion. And all he had is an idea. So an idea using AI to replace humans, $6.2 billion. And he's only going to be using 100 engineers to basically replace up to what? Would just be conservative, 10,000 future engineers gone. And so they raised $6.2 billion to solve for engineering, aerospace, manufacturing, defense, everything using AI. And so everybody who's in college right now for engineering degree, they're probably kind of, I'm just saying, there's a shaky future for them. And they're not even aware of it. And so I'm not against billionaires, but follow the billionaires, because they move the markets, they create the trends, they dictate the future. Once again, they just have an idea and raise $6.2 billion. Can you? I couldn't do that, but they can. So a secret right now is make sure you follow what they're doing, because that's a predictor of what's coming next. And so you must be willing to do scary things, hard things, and uncomfortable things. For example, I'm up on the stage, I'm shaking kinda, but it's part of my growth and my trajectory. And so for you, getting started, doing things that make you feel uncomfortable is going to be a consistent experience. And it's what you do, when you're faced with those decisions or those opportunities that dictate whether you continue to move forward in business, in life. And so this goes into personal life too. This goes into business. This goes into every facet of your life. This isn't just unidimensional to AI. And so the real question is are you courageous enough to bet on yourself, knowing that the markets are betting against you? There's probably over $1 trillion being bet against human talent right now. Right now. Yeah, I don't know how else to say it. And the data shows it. And so all that's left really is, are we willing to take those steps? And so people bet on people who bet on themselves. And God favors those who bet on themselves. So those are two important reasons to bet on yourself. And so I'm gonna take you through a little journey, and then I'm gonna get into the cold email. I'll go through this as fast as I possibly can. One of the best sayings is, if I can, you can. If you can, I can. So if you see somebody else achieve something, you can achieve it too. So we're all basically mirrors of the human potential. So if you see someone else do something, even if it's difficult, it was difficult for them too. So you have to bet on yourself and push through those experiences, those moments. And I mean, this is, how do I say this? Your imperfections, your past, your mistakes, those are actual Those are actually, that's an opportunity to empower others and yourself. And so you have to be delusional. So when you take those first steps and the second step and the third step, like you got to live in a reality that doesn't even exist yet, because you're not the person that you have to become to, achieve the outcome that you are desiring and moving towards. And so I'm gonna take you on a quick little journey. 5.2 years ago, I was a crackhead, okay? I was hooked on drugs, and I made some decisions. I didn't know where they were gonna take me, but I bet on myself, and I bet, and I bet, and I bet, and I kept betting on myself, even when everything went terribly wrong. And we'll get into that here in a second. So that was my first mugshot when I was 19 years old. So just for reality, just for contrasts, and just so you kind of understand the context, I missed 8 consecutive Thanksgivings, Christmases, and birthdays. I went to federal prison, state prison. I could not stay sober to save my life. And I really want you guys to think about the most difficult experiences that you've had. The betrayals, the heartbreaks, pain. It could be physical, emotional, spiritual. It doesn't matter. All those experiences are feedback. It's literally a map of your gaps and your inefficiencies, your weaknesses and your vulnerabilities. And how do I say this? The secret to moving forward is you also have to clear your past. And so what I have discovered, and it helped me get over my addiction and over my life experiences and my traumas, was to turn the worst things that happened to me into gratitude. And that's saying thank you. Because pain is God's greatest act of mercy, because we wouldn't change otherwise. And so in business and in life, you're gonna have failed relationships, you're gonna have fallouts, you're gonna try the thing that goes terribly wrong, your bank account's gonna go negative. Well, why? What did you do? What do you need to take accountability for? And what do you need to do better? What is your next step? Because everything external is an internal reflection. And so I made a bet. This is the first bet, and this is why, this story right here, this is my birth mom. I finally met her at the ripe age of 30. I was adopted at 6, taken away at 4. She's only 13 when she had me. It wasn't her fault. And so as you go through business, as you go through life, you're gonna have to heal. You're going to have to face the demons and the darknesses in your past to unlock your future. And so, once again, you don't need all the answers, you just have to start. So I was literally hooked on drugs. My car was about to get repoed, my phone got shut off, I just lost my job, and I'm like, crap, I'm gonna go back to prison. If I don't do something crazy right now, I'm gonna go back to prison. I just got out after doing 3.5 years for $1,000 theft. I was burned out of the system. I was broken, I was tired. And so I had $13. And so this is an important thing to understand in business and in life. You don't have to have everything. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to have all the resources. You just have to take the next step. And so with $13, I drove 1,800 miles, hopped Walmart to Walmart. I did these crowdsourcing apps, taking pictures of Monster energy drinks. Got paid $6 to $14 per Walmart. I did that for 7 days. I hopped across country and I met my birth mom. And it was right after that I found God. And what that experience taught me was you don't have to have it all figured out. So right now, you don't know the step 3, you just need to know the next step. It's literally all you have to know. And so it's say you want to get started with high level, or you want to start marketing, you don't need to have the whole plan figured out to take the next step. Generally speaking, the way I look at it, and I'm just saying, God can't steer a stagnant car. So you have to stay moving, you have to stay taking action. Rejection is redirection. And so I meet my birth mom, and so basically from that's where it started. So that was the first bet, $13, cross-country trek, met my birth mom, and just to put on top of it, if you're meant to go, God will make it happen. So I'd say this, I had no car insurance, I had a suspended license, and I got pulled over 2 times. And I had just gotten a ticket 3 weeks earlier for driving on a suspended license. And when those cops called in my license, it came back as being valid. So when I say God favors those who bet on themselves, I'm speaking from experience. So start, don't stop, and trust God, because that's how miracles happen. And so after meeting my birth mom, I ended up getting into the Ohio State University, but I ended up in a homeless shelter where I ended up hooked on crack. And basically from that point on, I'm just like, hey, if I just keep going, like, what other crazy stuff can happen? And so even though I was literally smoking crack for the 2/3 of my first semester, I kept going, I kept showing up, just like Andy was talking about. You just have to show up, and God will show you out. And so throughout all of this, I'm building confidence, even though I'm messing up. Like I'm straight up just doing everything wrong. But I'm still building confidence in my ability to just keep moving forward. And so I want you guys all to ask yourself right now is, what is your excuse and what is your limitation that is holding you back? What are the identities that you're putting on yourself that are preventing you from taking those next steps? Because if I can take these imperfect next steps and actions, I could be smoking crack, still going to college classes. I'm just saying, like, we can do anything if we have the mindset and we are, have that commitment to bet on ourselves. And so it's just crazy. That brings me back. Like, it's nuts, because it's just nuts to see where I'm at now. And it all started with being in compromising situations. So it doesn't matter where you're at in life right now. Like, there's no reason that you can't overcome it or push through it, because God does reward those who bet on themselves. And so your past struggles, I just want to say this, are proof of your capability. How many times do we say, like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing that happened to me? I mean, I've said it like 5 times, but all the other 4 times I made it through. And so in life and in business, you've already proven to yourself what you're capable of. You've already proven that you have what it takes. All you have to do is take the damn next step, again and again and again. And so I've been sober since this day. So this was the week that I got out of the homeless shelter, and this was over 5 years ago. And so now I have been off of crack, meth, heroin, fentanyl, all that garbage ever since then. And so when you show up, God will show you out. It's exactly what Andy was saying before, when he literally laid out the plan for anybody to take high level and start monetizing it. He gave you the exact steps, the exact framework. He gave you the registration page, the thank you page. He gave you all the mathematics that you need to be able to take what you've learned today and turn it into something, to be able to bet on yourself. And so, so now, just so you guys understand the statistics, like, you can defy the odds. It doesn't matter what socioeconomic background you have. It doesn't matter what family you came from. It doesn't matter what skills you have or don't have. So less than 20% of, IV drug users stay sober after 5 years. And then less than 23% of people released from prison stay out after 5 years. And all I did was keep betting on myself, even while I was hooked on crack going to college. I just kept going. And now, because I kept betting on myself, 1 out of 20 million, I'm the first felon to be backed by Ronald Reagan, who started the whole war on drugs stuff that we're now unwinding. It's super ironic. It's restorative justice. I'm the first out of 20 million felons to be backed by the Ronald Reagan Institute for my presidential pardon. And then I was the first felon to go and intern for them in Washington, D.C. And so at this point, I'm like, I gotta keep betting on myself. Like, I can't stop now. Like, miracles happen when you just take those next steps, imperfect next steps, but you keep taking them. And so, like, the reason I'm sharing this with you guys, it's not about me. This is about the human potential. This is about your potential. This is about your capabilities. Because if a crackhead can do some stuff and still do dumb stuff and still, like, get cool stuff to happen, and God shows up, keeps me floating when I make more mistakes and do more dumb stuff, what can God do in your life? And so, see if I can get this clicker to work. Woo, I'm shaking, guys. And so there's nowhere that you don't belong. So when I went to DC and all that, I was the first one. They never even experienced a felon coming out there like, we don't even know if we can take you. And so when you bet on yourself, there are no limitations, there are no boundaries. You decide where you want to be, you decide where you want to go, you pave the path, you make the decisions. Because once again, as I showed you those charts before, the world is betting against the human talent right now. So you can't let the world define or put you in a box, or you're kind of screwed. And so just once again, remember, the world is betting against you right now. So you have to bet on yourself. And you got the tools today to be able to do it. And so through all of this, the light is in the darkness. So you are, just like Caitlin was saying, you're the bottleneck in your life, from personal to business to everything. And so the answer and the solution to everything is by facing it. And so one of the things that I do is I consistently make myself disgusted with myself until I'm so disgusted with myself that I finally take action on the things that I've been disgusted with for X amount of time. And so if you're not willing to make yourself the reason for everything in your life, you're going to continue to unnecessarily experience pain and obstacles that if you were just to look inward and say, hey, this is my fault. Hey, everything in my life is my fault. I didn't set boundaries, but got bad communication. I didn't take action. I procrastinated. I had excuses. Whatever it is, it all starts with you and me. And so that right there, that's a very hard-learned lesson. And so I hope no one else has to hear that. And so I ended up homeless again. I'm 2 years sober. I worked 70-hour weeks in the factory, saved $10K so I could start my marketing business. And so I saved $10K working 70 hours. I dropped out of college, and 90 days later, I was back in the homeless shelter because I didn't take action. I had limiting beliefs. I was the bottleneck. And so, this was 2 weeks after GPT-3 came out. And so what did I do? Every day I would get up, I'd go to Starbucks, and I just kept going at it. And what I came to realize in that phase of time is, number one, people bet on people who bet on themselves, because one of my past mentors took me in, and it was a God moment to me. And I ended up living in his co-working space while he was building it. So I was basically figuring out what I did wrong, and it was limiting beliefs. So it was value. So like today, I have accepted as much as $15K paid in full. Back then, I couldn't even ask for $300. So once again, we're all at different places, but your barriers are you. Your limitations are you. Literally everything is you. And so the quicker you realize that, and the sooner you're willing to take that extreme level of ownership, the faster you're gonna be able to move forward, and the less pain you're gonna have to experience. And hopefully you don't fuck up as bad as I did and end up in the homeless shelter. So I was like, I'm going all in, I'm like courageous, and then it's like flat on my face. But I kept betting on myself. And so the next year, that year I only made 15.6K. The next year I broke 6 figures. And it's because I had a limiting belief that was holding me back from, demanding my value in the market. And so I'm not a millionaire. I'm not like big like all these other guys are that have been on stage. But trajectory, once again, trajectory. And so bet on yourself. And so all I'm saying is the hard times that you're gonna go through in business, in your personal life, it's all your fault. Everything is your fault, everything. And so my personal secret that I learned from all of this, extreme ownership and forgiveness. It's easy to forgive people when you look at everything and you're like, oh, should have done better. Should have taken more action. I should have had better boundaries. I should have been a better communicator. I shoulda, coulda, woulda, something. There's always something back to us. And so I look at every bad experience and I say, okay, how's this my fault? And forgiveness, it's the devil's number one backdoor entry point to anybody. And so that's defense. Extreme ownership is offense. AI got the spelling wrong on ownership, so don't judge me. And forgiveness is defense. So forgiveness protects you. Extreme ownership is how you continue to move forward. And so what is the skill that took me where I'm at today? And once again, I'm not the best, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the baddest, but I sure as hell am gonna outlast everybody and make as many mistakes as possible. And I think that's, how do I say this? The fear of looking like a fool is what holds us back. And so you have to be willing to be foolish, look foolish. You have to be willing to make mistakes other people are too scared to make, you know? And so, who here checked their email today? Who checked their email? Who checked it within the last week? Okay, so everybody uses email. It's the longest lasting, and most relied upon method of communication. Everybody checks their emails. I work with clients and teams, and we'll literally be emailing back and forth throughout the day. So email, everybody checks it. And so all you need to know now, so all you need to know now is how to get into the inbox. And that's what's becoming more difficult now. So deliverability is the most important part. You can't just send out a bunch of emails and think they're gonna get in the inbox. It doesn't work like that anymore. And so cold email fails if any one of these are misfiring. So there's 4 mechanisms to cold email: deliverability, targeting, offer, and messaging/relevancy. And if you knock all 4 of those out, you'll be able to take the data and the feedback and optimize until you get the outcome that you desire. And so we're gonna go over those really quick. So this is a marketing agency, and this is a high-level marketing agency, and I'm gonna break it down in a few slides from now. We actually use something in high level to get the results that we got. So 357 out of 15K leads, that's 1 for every 42 people emailed, raised their hand and said, tell me more, send me your booking link, whatever that was. And so real quick, I'm gonna go into how we even set it up. So I want this to be somewhat actionable, so you at least have been exposed to this, because if you go into how do I say this? There's a lot of people who do it very ineffectively, and they we'll just say we get 3 to 9x better results by doing it this way versus SMTP and these other cheaper ways of doing it. And so the first thing with cold email is your infrastructure. So you have to send from alternative domains. So 10xcoldleads.com. I would buy domains that were try 10xcoldleads.com. Do 10xcoldleads.com, the 10xcoldleads.com, it's 10xcoldleads.com. And so you would do that, and I'm gonna go through the math here in a second. That is step 1. So you don't send from your main domain. Imagine a roof being held by 1 pillar. If that pillar goes down, the whole roof comes down. But now add in 34 pillars. If one goes down, you still got 33 going. So you're still able to send emails. But if one bad thing happens, the whole roof goes down if you're just sending from 1. And so that's how you get blacklisted. And then none of your stuff goes to inbox. Okay, so this is the math. So 1 domain is 3 email addresses. And so if you're gonna be starting cold email, you always wanna start with 34 domains, and then you're gonna attach 3 email addresses to each one. It's gonna give you 102 email addresses, and that's gonna be 2,040 cold emails sent per day. This is a game of volume, but it's also a game of targeting, relevancy, and offer. So we'll get into that as well too. But the more emails you send with all 4 of these pieces firing off together, the better results you're going to get. And once again, you have to test. So for cold email, if you want to actually know if something you're doing is working or not working, you have to send it to at least 1,000 people. So you could technically run 2 full tests in 1 day by sending 2,040. If you build a small system that only sends, say, 300 emails a day, it's gonna take you 1, 2, 3, 4 days to be able to get feedback on whatever it is that you were trying and testing out. And I'm gonna show you the offers that are converting right now as well too. And so step 2 is to get instantly.ai. So you don't send it directly from Go High Level. There's Smartly, there's a whole bunch. Instantly.ai is one we use, and I'll break that down here. And then step 3 is you want to use resellers. So if you go to workspace.google.com, you're gonna have to pay $7+ per email, okay? That's absolutely way too much money. So if you go to Google for 100 email addresses, it's over $700 a month. If you go through resellers, and these are trusted resellers, and I'm actually going on as an equity partner here very soon with Inboxology, because they're a trusted, reputable reseller company. You get 102 email addresses for $265 a month. And so, that's what, $400 in savings plus dollars. And so this is a form of being economically efficient without detrimentally impacting the deliverability of your system. So Google's and Microsoft's deliver better than an SMTP email will. All right. And then next thing you have to do is you have to clean your email. So I know I'm dumping a lot of information on you guys. We'll share the slides after. It's not overwhelming, you just have to follow the steps. You just gotta follow the steps and the process of cold email for it to work. So when you clean your list, there's gonna be 3 kinds of results. You're gonna get valid, invalid, and then catch-all. And so if you see that first scrub, 3,272 leads, that's what most people stop at. They stop at the 3,200 leads. Then you go and you scrub the catch-alls, and you get an extra 2,500 leads out of it. And all your competitors, because it costs an extra quarter cent to scrub, they skip that second step. And so when you're doing the when you're validating your emails, you can use Million Verifier, you can use Zero Bounce, you can use Lead Magic, you can use ICPs. There's so many vendors to do that. And then catch-alls, you'll want to use something like Bounce Ban. So they use a different process for doing the validation process.
What's the catch-all?
So catch-all is like basically anything sent to a domain is automatically routed to a primary email address. So a lot of businesses will set their infrastructure up like that internally. So if someone makes a typo, they'll still get the email. So when you set that up, like everything gets routed there, so you don't know if it's actually valid. And so this is deliverability in 2025. That's in March this year. Those top 2 campaigns are being sent to Microsoft servers, or Microsoft, ESPs, email service providers. Those bottom 2, that's Google SMTP. So we got 20% reply rate, and we got 8.23% reply rate. That's a stark difference. And so now you have to actually segment who you're sending emails to, and you have to treat it differently. And even by treating those Microsofts differently, that's basically what you're dealing with. It's hard to get in there. So most people now will just skip the Microsofts, and they'll just send to Googles and SMTPs and just not deal with the Microsofts anymore. And then just to give you guys insight, clients that I have who have Microsoft, like you can't even send them a client email. Like they tighten down that pathway so much that it actually interferes with your day-to-day business operations. And so look at this. If you ever see 99.5% inbox deliverability rate being advertised, which does happen, they're obviously lying their asses off, because that's not possible. Okay, look at that. Is there a 99.5% deliverability rate? Not possible. So right now, just so you guys have the real information, deliverability is maybe at 60 to 65% maximum when you're firing off on all cylinders. So the second is list building and targeting. So you have to know who you're sending emails to. And so that's going to be like different sized businesses are going to have different decision makers. There's not going to be a COO in a 0 to 10 employee company. So you have to understand your target market and the decision makers that exist on who you are targeting. And then you have to know where you're going to get your data. And so data you can get from all over the place. Apollo, ZoomInfo, Seamless. You can scrape LinkedIn. You can scrape Google Maps. If you're doing Google Maps, you can use like Outscraper. You can use Appify. You can use the Google Maps API and go into Lovable and code something and scrape it that way. And then you have to know how to segment. So just because you have this list of these companies and these decision makers, now you got to filter based on the company. Like, is this company, a suitable prospect? And so what we use is Clay. We use Clay because I'm going to show you here as I go through some copy and literally real life examples, ROI generating, campaigns. What Clay does is it allows you to take that information and at scale use AI, use automations, and basically work with data and have rules that will either qualify or disqualify who makes it through to the end into your campaign. And you can also go to AppSumo, just so you guys know. There'd be people on there with like databases that you can buy for super cheap. So just to be aware, you need fresh data. It's gotta be as fresh as possible. People are getting fired and replaced at crazy rates right now, so you can't rely on outdated data. And that's just an important part of protecting your deliverability. So Clay, segment, enrich, aggregate, do web research. So in one of these future examples I'm gonna show you, we did that with investors. And then you can connect to any API access point for the techie guys that has data or information that helps you determine if a prospect is qualified to reach out to. So Clay, think of Zapier, NAN, and Make, and Google Sheets had a baby. And so instead of nodes and modules, it's columns. And so just like I shared before, it writes copy, it does mass web research, enriches companies, enriches leads, connects to APIs, and then you use that information and you give it rules on to qualify or disqualify a lead. And so I'm gonna take you through the exact copy here on the next slide as well. So this example, we used Apollo, Clay, and Instantly, okay? So this is our tech stack that we use to book 45 meetings with investors in just 5 weeks. And so right here, on that left one where it says response, 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 so it costs us between 0.001 cents to 12 cents per investor, and it varies between all that. And we used AI to go do deep research. So we had it research the investment thesis. So does this investor, even though they're in some category got from Apollo, actually invest in this exact startup? So now we're concentrating our volume. So every single person that we cold email, we know has a history of investing in this exact same kind of startup. And then we pushed it over for all the ones who qualified, and we rated it, so confidence. Then we just had AI write a snippet. And then that snippet is right here. So this is all it was. So notice your investment in eRepublic and Genius SIS. So I just took one of the emails we sent. So it took specific companies, so this is creating relevancy. This is creating pattern disruption. Because if you're sending these at scale and not using AI, you're not gonna be able to pull these up unless you do it manually, and that's a lot of time. It's like to have researched 10,000 investors, how much time would that have taken manually? We did it in the click of a button. And we pulled the exact company, and then all we did was insert that. That first sentence is AI generated, and then the second, third, and fourth were like, syntax static copy. And then we gave them context, and then a very non-aggressive call to action. And this right here booked 45 meetings in 5 weeks. And so the next thing is offer. So this is the most important part. I'm gonna break in, I think it's on the next slide. It's actually a high-level offer that we use, that printed meetings. And so your goal with the offer is to reduce perceived risk and increase perceived value. Because we're in a trust recession right now. So everybody's been burned, everybody's been sold fairy dust. And so, and as well too, is they're getting dozens of cold emails a day. So you have to stand out. So this exact thing has closed over 50K in closed contracts. And we used a free offer to get butts in seats. And what we used is basically what Dan Kennedy, Magnetic Marketing, it's solving a problem that they are aware that the prospect is aware they have, that there's where they have, and then leading them to your actual objective. So it's meeting them where they're at because they may not have the trust or the awareness. So what we did is we used, that first one, good morning. And I chose this one on purpose because all we did is we scraped the Google reviews using AI and automations. Then we had the AI write a sentence about one of the reviewers, and then reminds me of how we recently helped a Florida detailing company 5x in 8 months by attracting top value clientele. Would it be valuable to share our social media content strategy automation tool they used? No commitments needed, just our way of showing you what's possible while keeping your platforms active and engaging. And then PS, love how your customers consistently mention that professional, trustworthy service. That's gold for a high-end clientele. That whole thing was written by AI, and we had to write 15,000 of them. And this generated over 50K in closed contracts. So this is the power of scalable AI in outbound. And so the tech stack is important. So we use high level. Almost all of our clients use high level because once they book on the high level calendar. And as I just showed you in the offer before, then they provide them access to one feature. So in high level, you'll be able to choose what features people have access to. And so what they did is they just started with one feature, blocked the rest, and then either upsold them on the sales call or just continue to nurture them. And so they're booking meetings every week still from this cold email campaign. And it's only 15K contacts. Go. And so one of my consulting clients, so I haven't run this specific offer myself, but one of my consulting, one of the companies I consulted on cold email, they were running this offer. And I just want to show you how cold email and offers is working in real time. Like this is generating them 7.5 to 10K recurring revenue every week. That's 40, they were growing like crazy with this using cold email. And so we'll run your ads for free for 20 days. You only cover ad spend. And then they also included some social proof. And so they were signing 3 to 4 clients a week, 70% conversion rate on everybody who said yes to this offer. And they added 7.5 to 10K MRR every single week. And so when people say cold email doesn't work, I've seen otherwise. And so today, what you guys can do, this is the simplest way to use cold email. You just have to make sure you're putting it in front of the right people who you actually want to work with and who have the money to be able to hire you. But start a podcast. It will also put you out in front of more people. It will allow you to leverage other people's audiences. But people love to talk about themselves. It's the easiest psychological hack. So like literally anyone in here, you don't even have to have an offer yet. You can start inviting people onto podcasts. And so if you look right here, 55 out of 79 said yes. We only emailed 1,200 people. We booked over 30 of them. And it was just a little sprint. We booked them out for like crazy. And so anyone can do this right here. And so all we did was we just did a brief little research on the person, the decision maker, and then we positioned why we wanted them on the podcast based on that research. And we just had AI do it all. I didn't write any of those. I don't even know what they said. And so my main message, because it's like, I just love this right here. It's like, this is your dream. We all have dreams. And if we don't do anything, it's just gone. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Only you do. And so bet on yourself because the world is betting against you. And if you scan this QR code right here, I'll send you'll get a free mini course. So how to get started, how to take action, what matters, what doesn't matter, tools to use. And so yeah, scan that, fill out the form, and you'll get it in your email. And that is all. Thank you guys. Shaking.
So good.
All right, you guys. Listen, y'all are the real winners because you sat through the whole thing. And I know